Okay, good day, guys. Good day to you all. Welcome back to the Formula Sports channel. Thanks for being here. The support, as always, is much appreciated. Now, guys, I have a bit of good news for you guys, right? It is certainly something that has made me happy, right? And more than likely, I'm sure you guys will like to hear this as well. This is a player that I have been, I am keenly, right, monitoring his progress to see, just how well this player progresses in his career, right? And I am happy. I am really happy to have seen that Tyreek Magee is back in the Kas Eupen match day squad. So you guys know that before the international break, Magee was in the Kas Eupen squad for 2 games, right? One at the first one, he did not take the field of play. The second one, he eventually was substituted onto the pitch, right? But he didn't get much game time, very little game time very late in that particular game, right? But since the international break, Magee, we have not seen him feature in a Kas Eupen match day squad. 2 games have already gone for Eupen. We have not seen him in the squad until now, right? This game against Beershot, right, which is going to be played tomorrow, Kas Eupen has announced their first team match day squad for this particular game. Magee is back in the Kas Eupen first team match day squad, right? And for those of you who need clarification, the match day squad, so yes, you can be in the first team, but not necessarily in the match day squad. So that means if you're out of the match day squad, that means you have either not made the starting 11 or the bench. So you cannot play the game any at all. So the last 2 games, Magee would not have been able to play the game any at all because he was not in the Kas Eupen match day squad. This game, right, I don't know if he will be starting or if he will be coming off the bench, right? I do not know. But what I know is that Magee will be eligible to play the game and will be available to play the game because he is in the match day squad. So I don't know if he will start or if he will come off the bench or if he will feature any at all, right? But it is good to see at the very least that the player is back in the Kas Eupen match day squad, having missed the match day squad for the last 2 previous games, right? Magee was, playing in the Kas Eupen under 21 team, and in the summer just gone, he made the jump to the Kas Eupen first team, which is that big club that plays in the Belgian Pro League, right? And I am monitoring this player because, well, I monitor all, Jamaican players, right? But I particularly, I pay keen attention to the young reggae boys, especially the young ones, right, who would have been born and bred and had some development in Jamaica. And obviously Magee is one of those players, the likes of a Norman Campbell, the likes of a Kahim Paris, right? Magee would have previously starred for Jamaica College in schoolboy football. Magee is a player that I believe in. I believe this player can go very far in his career. So I'm really I think the player is a good player. I think the player has considerable upside. But for right now, he needs to focus on breaking into, the whole setup from a standpoint of playing regularly for Kas Eupen, right? One thing I want to say though is that yes, Magee has been, a lot of his development has taken place in Jamaica, but we also cannot forget that he did go to Europe as well as a teenager, right? And he himself has spoken about his experience in Eupen, and we have all seen the growth in Magee. So obviously Eupen would be responsible for some of the growth in his career as well, right? So I am monitoring the situation closely. Hopefully we can see Magee in action tomorrow, whether starting or coming off the bench for Kas Eupen. A lot of Reggae Boyz fans would have gotten a little bit worried, right? A lot of Reggae Boyz fans would have gotten a little bit worried when we saw the last 2 match day squads and Magee was not in it, right? So we are pleased to see that Magee has made a return to the Kas Eupen first team match day squad. Another thing that I want to talk about quickly, right, is the situation taking place with Ravel Morrison, right, at Derby County, right? And, you know, we all see the debacle that Derby County has found themselves in, right? We all see the, you know, it's a financial mess, right? I think that's clear to see. I want to say that I'm not particularly concerned about Ravel Morrison, and the reason why I'm not particularly concerned about the player is that he is on a 1-year deal, right? So Derby County getting relegated doesn't necessarily affect him, right? And even if the worst happens with Ravel Morrison, right, and he is released as a free agent, right, because, you know, that depends on what takes place with Derby County. Even if the worst takes place with Derby County and Ravel is released, right, probably could even be sold to in January, right? But if the worst happens and he is released, by then I would imagine that Ravel would have had enough time, right, to fully resurrect his career, so to speak, in terms of you know, a lot of people didn't want to take a risk with Ravel, and so his friend Wayne Rooney took the risk with Ravel, right? I think that he has already had enough games in the English second division to prove that he is a capable English second division team player, right? I mean, I've seen some of his performances this season for Derby, right? And the player has performed well in a number of, well, in all the games that I've watched with Ravel, the player has performed well. And I've watched most of his games at Derby County. I have watched this season, including even the preseason friendlies, right? So I think that, and especially by the time that comes around, because I don't think the threat of him leaving Derby County is immediate, right? From what they're reporting is that, you know, for now, you know, yes, administration is taking place and all of that, but all of this is going to take some time, right? By the time, even if let's say the worst happens and he's released, right? By the time that comes around, I think the player would have had enough games, right? He has already had enough, in my opinion, and he will have played even more games to prove that he is an English League Championship quality player at the very least, right? So I'm not particularly concerned about him. The only thing I am concerned about is if a possible separation takes place with him and Wayne Rooney. So let's say, I mean, the club gets relegated, which many people think will happen. Let's say either the club and, you know, they have already had a 12-point deduction, and they could, you know, it's looking like they will have more from what is being reported. But let's say, for instance, Derby is either relegated, right, or Ravel is released or sold, which more than likely would probably be released, right? Let's say this happens, right? It would obviously be up to Ravel to stay with Derby until they go to the, you know, stay with them even if they go to League One, right? I don't know if that's something the player would want to do, to kind of, I don't know, as loyalty, so to speak, to a manager that had a lot of trust and faith in him, right? Or, you know, so let's say, you know, the club gets relegated to League One. I personally would not want to see him go to League One, right? And I think that the option would be there for him to stay with a championship club, right? Whether or not he takes it up is his you know, right, or his business. But I personally would not want to see him go to League One. But at the very least, I think the option will be there for him to stay in the championship. If he gets released, I still think that option would be there. The only thing is I'm a bit concerned if the player will, if a separation happens between him and Wayne Rooney, right? When I've watched Ravel play, I realized that he's given a bit of a free role for Derby County, which means that Wayne Rooney has a lot of faith in this player, right? It means that Wayne Rooney believes in his ability as a quality player, right? That's my interpretation of it. And when you hear what Wayne Rooney has said about the player as well, it is clear Wayne Rooney respects the player's talents very highly. That's the only thing I'm a little bit concerned about. If a separation with himself and Wayne Rooney takes place, will the environment, I think this is the best environment to properly facilitate a resurrection of Ravel's career. Me personally, I'm of that opinion. If the two part ways, yes, I still think Ravel will do well, but I think from an ideal standpoint, it would be best that both Ravel and Wayne Rooney stay connected at Derby, right? And it would be best as well if they stay connected in the English League Championship. All of that is looking at doubt right now, but I'm not really too concerned about Ravel's career and the impact it will. I don't think it won't have that big of an impact on his career, and I'm sure the player he must be able to swim on his own without Wayne Rooney. I know Wayne Rooney cut him that big break and gave him that big chance, but if you are not capable, right, of finding your feet in professional football on your own without this particular manager, then, it doesn't make sense, right? But I do believe that Ravel is of the talent that he can find his feet elsewhere. It's just that from an ideal standpoint, I would have liked to have seen him play more with Derby County under Wayne Rooney's stewardship in the English League Championship. But guys, that's my 2 cents. Again, big news. Tyreek Magee back in Kas Eupen's match day squad. And of course, you guys know the debacle currently going on with Wayne Rooney at Derby County. So guys, that's my 2 cents. Take care, stay safe, and until next time.